The man put an ice cube in his mouth. Oddly, he spat it out again only to slide it back and forth along his lips. Then he put it back in his mouth and swallowed it. He finished off the remnants left in the mold, but the troubling feeling wouldn't leave him. He stuck his head into the fridge, but before he could feel the coolness he started munching on the ice shavings inside. He didn't even skip over the layers of ice on the shelves. With his fingers he gathered the ice together and sucked it into his mouth until the shelves were smooth as glass from his licking. He laid their eyes closed, completely immersed in the sensation. For a moment he wanted nothing more than to stay in that fridge forever. But then, like a child, he started crying, feeling as though he had been wronged. He'd been trapped in the house for 2 days. If he didn't find a way out soon, he would die here. An experienced thief was powerless against this house. The windows were all bulletproof and the wooden door was his only hope of escape. He found a crack in the wooden door and began chiseling at it with a small knife. Soon he had managed to carve out a piece and a wave of relief washed over him. He worked faster, now encouraged by his progress. But then disaster struck. The system malfunctioned and the temperature control failed. The heat rose rapidly and within minutes all the moisture he had replenished was gone. To make things worse, the water supply had been cut off. He had hoped the pool water was drinkable, but as soon as he tried it he spit it out. It turned out they'd added disinfectant, making it undrinkable. It could only be used for wiping his body to help with dehydration. He had no choice but to keep chipping away at the door, hoping for an escape. But then he heard something strange. He tapped the door with his knife and to his surprise it made a metallic sound. There was a steel plate hidden inside the wooden door. Without the right tools there was no way to open it. Desperate to survive, he decided to call the police and turn himself in. But to his horror the phone didn't work either. He felt like a child abandoned in a hopeless situation. Then suddenly he stood up and looked at the skylight in the ceiling. Maybe there was still a chance to survive. He began tying furniture together, shaking it with all his might, but it wouldn't break apart. Then standing on top of it he started hitting the skylight, only to discover that the glass was bulletproof too. He felt a surge of despair, but then a solution occurred to him. He grabbed a pricey vase, climbed up onto the platform and used his tools to chip away at the cement. Soon he managed to carve out a small gap. He saw that the screws were fastened inside. Without the proper tools there was no way he could unscrew them and escape. The harsh reality was unbearable. The life in this cage made him loathe the house's owner. In the empty house he was all alone. To make matters worse, the food was all gone. He decided to modify his tools, carving a groove in the wood, tightening the nuts and then turning them. Finally he managed to remove one. For the first time in a while he felt a glimmer of hope. But his luck didn't hold out. The floor was littered with broken wooden boards. But he didn't give up. He believed that if he kept at it he could eventually remove them all. Even if it meant eating dog food, he would survive. Then the unthinkable happened. He fell from the platform. Now his only option was to remove all the screws. He climbed back up, dismantled the bulletproof skylight and finally made his escape.